YouTube, how we doing? Today we're going to be going into my third official mock draft now. If you guys are excited for this, if you guys have been waiting for this, please be sure to leave a like. It really does help me out a bunch, and it does help me get out on the recommended and get into more people's YouTube, so it does help out a lot. Comment down below your team and who you want them to pick with their pick. This is my first mock draft I'm doing with trades, so expect some craziness. And also, this is just my personal opinion with my personal rankings. If you want to check out the rankings, that's in the description below, as well as the full 2-round mock draft I did for this mock draft. So if you want to see that second round, you can click that as well. But yeah, we're going to go into this. We're going to talk about the players a little bit. Of course, if you guys are new to the channel, you got to know we're sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Code Sormani, SORMANI. You use that in Underdog when you sign up, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100, so you can play some NFL bets with me, play some fantasy leagues. I mean, it's going to be a ton of fun for this next season playing with Underdog Fantasy, so I hope to see you guys all there. Again, this is just my opinion. I want to hear yours in the comment section below. No one's right and no one's wrong. These are all just subjective, and it's just some fun. So let's get into the first overall pick. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I got them going Aiden Hutchinson. I think we're having a little bit of voter fatigue, pushing other people other than Aiden Hutchinson up. And here's my thing is, do they need an edge rusher? Definitely, opposite of Josh Allen. Do they need offensive line help? Of course. I think that they're going to spend money in the offseason for an offensive lineman. But no matter the case, we just saw the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl with their O-line not being that great. I think that the problem in Jacksonville, although the offensive line isn't great as well, I think that the problem was very much the coaching and the organizational, disarray last year. So getting a guy like Hutchinson to be a leader on this defense and just make this defense back into what it was when they were in the championship, and that was just an elite, strong defense. I think that Hutchinson's going to be another piece to add to that, and I think the offense will figure it out. Pick number 2, I got Kayvon Thibodeaux going to the Lions. Now, of course, we always put the Michigan kid to Michigan. But obviously he's off the board. But even then, I think Kayvon Thibodeaux is the perfect edge rusher for them. He's fast. He's strong. He's pretty much everything you'd want. You always have to bring it up. People question his love for the game because he's not a traditional football guy. But Myles Garrett loves poetry, and no one's saying anything about how good he is. So I always think it's a little bit too deep into things. But I think Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to be an absolute stud. Him going number 2. We're getting back to the edge rushers being the top picks. Now here at pick 3, I have the Houston Texans selecting Malik Willis out of Liberty. You're losing Deshaun Watson now, as he requested a trade. And although I do believe in Davis Mills, I believe if you flip Davis Mills, you probably get a second or a third, especially in this bad quarterback class. I'm sure teams would pay that price, probably a second because you got him in the third. So I'm sure you can get a second-round pick for a guy like Davis Mills who showed some upside, or you can keep him as the backup, or you can keep him as a starter before Malik is ready. There's a lot of options you can do with that, but since Deshaun Watson's going to be traded, and we didn't have him traded in this mock draft, just because I don't know exactly, there's a lot of different places he could go, so we didn't want to do that. But Malik Willis is going to give you hopefully what Deshaun Watson gave you, and Lovie Smith coming in here, being the new head coach, I think you got to get a straight up pick that's just it's got to come out of the park. It really does. You got to swing for the fences here. And as much as an offensive lineman would be nice here, an edge rusher might be nice, a corner, maybe safety. There's a lot of different things. I think get the new leader of your team, because this is not a team that's going to win next year. Malik Willis is not going to be a guy who is going to light the league on fire his year one unless he's put into a perfect situation. So I think for me, you get him into Houston, you let those growing pains happen while this team has its growing pains, and you have a very enticing team going into the season after this. So I'm really liking Houston with Malik Willis. I just think it's a good fit because we saw how good Deshaun Watson fit. Here at pick 4, Ekwonu is going to go to the New York Jets. Gives them guard and tackle versatility. Best offensive lineman in the class. Best player in the class right now for me, if you go and check out my big board. Falls to 4, just based on how the board goes. Jets would be loving this pick because if they go into free agency and they sign a tackle, they could still get Ekwonu and put him at guard, vice versa as well. Yeah, just protect Zach Wilson, protect your investment, give him some more time, and do what you can, man. This is a really good spot for an offensive tackle or an offensive lineman to go, and Zach Wilson is definitely going to be loving this, and I'm going to be loving it because Zach Wilson's in my Dynasty League. So at pick 5, Evan Neal is now going to the Giants. Yep. how the board falls, offensive tackle being there. If one of the offensive tackles is there for the Giants at 5, I think it's going to be something they go after. Evan Neal is just a monster of a human being. You play him at the right tackle spot. I think it's going to be perfect for the Giants. There's not much more needed to say about this. It's a good pick for the Giants. Here at pick 8, I got Charles Cross going to the Panthers. Now I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, they gotta go crazy with this pick because it's a do or die thing." Well, what's crazy is that they need an offensive tackle, and that's the biggest issue. Their offensive line is so bad, and their team isn't necessarily bad. They have a really strong defense. They have a really good offense. McCaffrey wasn't there most of the season. That's going to hurt, but this is a team that just needs to be protecting, Darnold or McCaffrey or whoever it may be in the backfield if either of those guys are not there. And Charles Cross is going to be that guy. This is not the sexy pick. Is not the right pick for Carolina. You need to get the unsexy pick, which some deem sexy, and that's the offensive lineman. Here at pick 7, I have Kyle Hamilton going to the Giants. Now, this is based purely off of best player available. I think that's the best spot for the Giants. You got an offensive lineman already, which is great. And are there edge rushers? Yeah, Travon Walker would be a good 3-4 D end. He would also be a decent edge rusher. He's never really played the edge, so I don't know. Jordan Davis would be good here just to plug up the middle between Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence and just have a huge, the hog mollies as Gettleman used to call them. But also, I think there's a lot of, Ojabo if you wanted to reach, Karlaftis, Jermaine Johnson. There's corners, Sauce Gardner and such. But I'm taking Kyle Hamilton because I'm just thinking about how talented this guy is and how he could be the best player in this class. And to pair him with Xavier McKinney, who is just an absolute monster, I think would be perfect. Logan Ryan still got, I think, 2 more years on his deal, but he really can do a lot. He can play, so can Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton can move down to a sub-linebacker package, play in the box. They could both play the nickel. There's a lot of versatility there, but having Kyle Hamilton and Xavier McKinney as your duo for the future, I can't imagine how great of a defense that would be led by those two in the top. The teams wouldn't be able to go over top, and I think this is a perfect pick for Wink Martindale as well. We have our first trade to announce. The Eagles are trading up to pick 8, and they are going to be giving up pick 15, 51, 165, and a second rounder next season. So jumping up 7 spots here to get who they think is going to be a franchise piece, and they still have 2 first-round picks other than this, which is good. And I think it's a good pick for the Eagles. You got 3 first-rounders, so giving up 4 picks and still having 3 first-rounders, I think is a dub. And that pick is going to be Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. The Eagles have had Darius Slay, on an island basically out there. They've been cycling in and out, Steven Nelson and Ronald Darby and all these other guys to hopefully get that guy. But Slay's not getting any younger. He's on the wrong side of 30, and he's still one of the best in the league, But we've seen a lot of drop-offs where Kyle Fuller was one of the best in the league, dropped off. Chris Harris dropped off. Casey Hayward dropped off. A lot of these guys, when they get to this age, it starts to show. 32 is pretty much the dying age for corners, sadly. But Sauce Gardner is one of the most talented players in this class. He's long. He's fast. He doesn't allow touchdowns at all. He doesn't allow catches at all. So trading up for Sauce Gardner here, getting the best corner in the class, especially when you look at the division, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, there's a lot of talent and guys in this division alone that you're going to need to lock down. So having 2 lockdown corners for Philly behind that front 4 mostly, man, that would just be awesome. For the Seattle Seahawks here, I have Travon Walker going, who just impressed completely at the Combine. Really just showed all the physical tools. I put him as edge and D-line because people have been saying he's more of an edge, but he really didn't play it much in college. He was more or less out there as a 3-tech, 4-tech even. He's mostly in the interior. So you can kind of move him around for Seattle, but this is a team that, if they trade for Deshaun Watson, they're probably not having this pick. But even then, are they competing? Are they getting younger? I think Travon Walker gives you that versatility where he can play multiple positions where this team does go into rebuild and they get new schemes and such. I think he's still able to play at a high level at whatever it may be. Here at pick 10, I do have Jermaine Johnson going to the New York Jets, getting an edge rusher opposite of Carl Lawson, exactly like they wanted. This is a guy who transferred out of Georgia due to lack of play time. He was behind Azeez Ojulari, and then on top of that, you see how good Ojulari's been, but how good Georgia has been in that front seven. So, yeah, I could see how it's tough to get playing time, even if you're great. And that's what Jermaine Johnson showed at Florida State, the Senior Bowl, etc. I mean, this guy has all the talent and the upside in the world. He really can do it all. There's not one thing he can't do. His bend is probably his biggest weakness, and it's not even that bad. But he's strong, he's fast, he's physical, he's got good hands, he got good length. I mean, this is one of the best edge rushers in the class. He's the most complete edge rusher in the class. I can say that. But the other guys have a little bit more, upside on certain things, and they're more specific. So Jermaine Johnson, although he's as great as he is, going to 10 with the Jets, I think the Jets should be happy getting Ekwonu and Johnson for this draft. Here at pick 11, we're going to see this a lot. Garrett Wilson going to the Commanders at 11. It just makes sense. They need another receiver to help out with Terry McLaurin. Get him an Ohio State guy. Pair him up with Carson Wentz now. Give Carson Wentz some options. Help out this offense because the offense has held them back too much. This defense is too damn good to be out there as much as they've been. And I think that this is a perfect pick for the Commanders. Pick 12 here for the Vikings. I am going Jordan Davis. This is the first time I had them not going corner. Hoping they address it in free agency for this mock draft. But there's a lot of corners. They can get one in the second round. Just seeing a guy like Jordan Davis and just seeing how bad their defense was pretty much all around, but they were so bad against the run. This is a guy who's going to stuff the run perfectly, and you have guys like Pierce and Tomlinson there. And although they haven't been living up to their contracts, I think that getting Jordan Davis here and being able to cycle around and kind of use versatile defensive linemen in different situations, I think that's going to be perfect for the Vikings to be able to completely take out the run. There's no way guys are going to be able to run on this defense after this. So I really do like Jordan Davis here. I just don't see him falling too much because of how talented he is. If they did take a corner here still, McDuffie is my next pick for corner, in my opinion. He's probably the best guy, but Stingley has the upside, so there's a possibility they take Stingley instead. Although McDuffie's higher on my board. But yeah, Jordan Davis I think is just a great pick because they need to help address this lackluster run defense. At pick 13 here for the Browns, we have Devin Lloyd being selected. Jordan Davis gone. It's time to address that linebacker spot where, you just can't run out there with the guys they have been these past couple of years. You addressed it with Koromoa, who looks like he's going to be a stud in this league. Let's get another one in the interior of the defensive linebacker core, and that's Devin Lloyd. This guy is strong, fast, physical, everything you'd want in a linebacker. Him and Nakobe Dean are 1A and 1B. It's pretty much your choice. I just have Devin Lloyd fitting a little bit better with the Browns, and I like him a little bit more. Here at pick 14, we have Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. This guy is a top 10 talent, honestly. He just ends up falling to 14. There's no way he's falling out of the top 15 anymore. He's physical. He the only thing to watch for is his temper after the whistle. I can see him. There's two ways it can go. He can turn into a Taylor Wan type where he's fun and physical after the whistle and stuff like that, or he can turn into a guy that can get some penalties and become a hothead and become a liability almost. But the talent is there. The guy can do everything that you want in a tackle. And that's exactly what the Ravens are going to want him to do. Here at pick 15, I have the Falcons getting George Karlaftis, the edge out of Purdue. Love this pick for them. Grady Jarrett, Marlon Davidson, and Karlaftis being on that D-line is just going to be awesome. He's going to be able to come off the edge with some power and just really disrupt. I really do like Karlaftis, especially here to 15, the Falcons. Too early for them to pick him earlier, so in my opinion, at least, I don't see him as a top 10 guy. But yeah, he just uses his strength. He doesn't have the longest arms and such. He just produces, man. That's really what he does. So Karlaftis going here. I do like this. There's a lot of positions that they could use. I know Stingley's still on the board and such, but I think you got to address and get some pressure because I think that's the biggest need for most teams nowadays. So Karlaftis, I can't see him falling out of the top 15, maybe the top 20, but that's as far as it'll go. But he goes to the Atlanta Falcons here. Chris Olave is the next pick here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Out of Ohio State, had an amazing combine, really shot up boards, and it showed, the top two receivers might be the Ohio State guys. He has all the tools in the world. He can run the route tree like nobody's business. He's a deep threat, and I think he just pairs perfectly with Quez and Devontae. I think this would just be an awesome receiving core, a young receiving core for Jalen Hurts. and it just adds another weapon. I think that getting him here at 16 is a really good spot for Olave. Yes, there's other guys you can go after, Treylon Burks, Drake London, etc. I just think Chris Olave is just going to fit perfectly for them, and I just like him a lot here. Derek Stingley does come off the board here at pick 17. Pardon me. And although McDuffie's still on the board, I think that the Chargers can afford to wait on the upside and hope that he is that guy, because they did it with Derwin James too. Derwin James was falling, and they took him, and he's been a star in the league since. So Stingley, you hope that he can get back to that freshman year, but he really hasn't shown it too much since. I'm not too worried. I think that he still has it in there, especially once he gets to the league. I think that he's really going to take it serious and be as great as we all knew he could be. And I think the Chargers would luck out getting him here at 17. Here at pick 18, kind of a surprise to a lot of people, Desmond Ridder is going to be my selection here for the Saints. I really do like Ridder. He's my second quarterback in this draft. I have a first-round grade on him, late first round. He's literally number 32 on my big board right now. But I just like him a lot more than the other quarterbacks. I think he's going to be a more complete quarterback at that next level. He can move around in the pocket. He can extend plays if he needs to. But in reality, he's just more or less going to stay. He's really balanced, honestly. He's not going to stay in the pocket if he doesn't need to. He's not going to move out of the pocket if he doesn't need to. He's going to make the plays. He's smart. And also, I like what Cincinnati did in these past couple years. And it showed, obviously, they made the college playoffs. But they are more of a complete college offense, in my opinion, than, look at Matt Corral at Ole Miss, where he's running a lot of RPOs and such. I think that there's a lot to show with Desmond Ridder. Getting him to the Saints here, obviously Deshaun Watson's an option that they've already offered a trade as far as I've heard. So hopefully by this time this video's out, he's not traded already. But I just think he'd fit in perfectly. Get a young quarterback. If you want Taysom Hill to start for a little while, maybe you do that because he's under contract. But, you're going into an offense where, you have Alvin Kamara, you have Michael Thomas, you have these guys where he's going to be able to fit in. A good offensive line, minus Armstead leaving, but maybe he doesn't even leave. Maybe Teron Armstead stays, and you have Desmond Ridder protected with a good offense around him. I just think he's going to be able to have the most upside. I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny Pickett, although this would be a good spot for Pickett because he would be fine wearing the gloves indoors. I just like Ridder as my second guy. So that's my explanation. Obviously, like I said, a little bit different. Let me know what you think about Desmond Ridder in the comment section below. Everyone's opinions are valid. No one's right or wrong. At pick 19, the Eagles round out their 3 picks with David Ojabo. Walking out of this draft with David Ojabo, Chris Olave, and Sauce Gardner would be an absolute elite draft for the Eagles. This is such a talented draft class. Having more picks is better. But getting Ojabo to help out on that edge and add another edge rusher to this, I mean, you already have all these dudes that are just studs, but some of them are getting older. Contracts are coming up. Ojabo can learn from a lot of these guys and really fine-tune his skills. And, he is a top 10 talent, but as of draft capital and bust potential, I guess is the best way to say it, yeah, he's up there. But I do think Ojabo is going to figure it out the next level. I'm excited to see what he does. Tyler Linderbaum is going to be the 20th pick here to the Steelers. They need offensive line help everywhere, and you're getting arguably the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. Arguably the best offensive lineman in the draft in total. I mean, the guy's just an absolute stud. So Linderbaum finally stops the fall out of 20. It's just a matter of interior offensive linemen not being as touted as they once were. But Linderbaum is going to provide whoever the quarterback is for the Steelers some protection and quality snaps if he's playing that center role. Pick 21 here, I got Nakobe Dean going to the New England Patriots. Now, coming out of Georgia, he's undersized, but this guy can fly across the field. And, the linebacker core was not as solid as you'd think it would be. Patriots were still an elite defense, but Hightower definitely showed some aging and struggling, and I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. They just let go of Van Noy as well. So really, I mean, just think about it. Juwan Bentley and Uche are pretty much the guys there. But with the team that can run pretty much any personnel on defense, I think Nakobe Dean is a perfect fit because he can really be versatile and do a lot. He can cover, he can shoot the gap, he can tackle. I mean, I think it's an all-around guy that Belichick and the Patriots are going to really fall in love with. Here at pick 22, Treylon Burks is going to be selected. Didn't impress at the combine, but didn't necessarily fall too much for me either. I wasn't expecting him to run a 4.3, so I don't know why people were so upset about his. I think it was a 4.5. Like, I'm completely cool with it. Treylon Burks has all the upside in the world, and I can't wait to see what he does. I really do. And putting him in the Raiders with Bryan Edwards and Hunter Renfrow and, whoever they may keep or bring back or sign in free agency, I think it's just a perfect fit for them. Gives Derek Carr another target where if Darren Waller's struggling or we see another spurt where he just isn't playing due to an injury, I think that Treylon Burks and this receiving core can really do a lot more. It also will free up Renfrow, who just had an ascending year and is probably going to draw some more attention on defense. It'll free him up a little bit more in that slot, and I think that's perfect for this Raiders offense, who is in probably the toughest division of football now. Going into pick 23, that's going to be Trent McDuffie, the corner out of Washington. He's a top corner for me in the draft. It just happened to fall this way, but the Cardinals need corner help. And this is a guy who is not afraid to tackle. He's good in coverage. He really can do a lot. He's not as big as other corners, but being that number 2 corner with Byron Murphy, I think he would be a perfect fit. Yes, they can go with edge rusher, maybe a receiver. There's a lot of places they can go here, but Trent McDuffie being on the board, he's got to stop his fall. I think it's perfect for him. Here at pick 24 for the Cowboys, they let go of Amari Cooper, and ironically, now they have a need at receiver. So they're going to go ahead and take Drake London, the USC receiver. Didn't necessarily fall for me, but isn't as high as I had him. His measurements came in a little bit less than we expected, and he's dealing with injuries right now, so he's not really being able to go out there and perform while the other guys are going out there performing and overperforming how talented they are, like Chris Olave and some others as well. So Drake London just going to 24. I've seen him all the way up at 10. This receiver class is pretty much pick who you have as your top guy. The top 7 can be in any order, and I would not be upset about it at all. It really is a special receiver class, especially in the top level. So Drake London going there, pairing with CeeDee Lamb, probably Michael Gallup. I just think that you need that other receiver because this is a creative offense, to say the least. So they need some more weapons. They can't just go from having all these weapons to having none. So Drake London's going to be a selection here. We do have another trade to announce. La'el Collins on the move to Buffalo for this next pick, which is the 25th pick. So the Cowboys are getting back-to-back first-rounders. And then on top of that, La'el Collins is going to a contender in Buffalo, protecting Josh Allen, being opposite side of Deion Dawkins. He's not as expensive. I know that they drafted Spencer Brown and stuff. You'll be able to move guys around and figure out the best offensive line, but the offensive line wasn't the greatest in Buffalo last season, and it definitely can improve here with La'el Collins, who was one of the best, arguably the best lineman some games for the Dallas Cowboys. So helps both teams out here. Really like this a lot for both of them. And with pick 25, Zion Johnson is going to be a selection here out of Boston College. Just an absolute monster. Really one of the most talented players on this offensive line class. He just falls to 25, and it's not a bad fall for him because he's going to a great spot. He could play for the center position. He could play in the guard position. Maybe you try him at tackle even. He can really be moved around, but I think Terrence Steele has earned that right tackle spot. He's looked pretty good. But depending on who leaves in free agency, who's re-signed, who's brought back, etc., Zach Martin, Tyron Smith are staples in there. I think you could see Zion Johnson become their center. But the Cowboys' success has been for the past decade offensive line play, and they need to continue it. And it shows when it's good and when it's bad, and they need to keep it good, especially if they're losing a guy like La'el Collins. Pick 26 here to the Titans is going to be Jameson Williams out of Alabama. All the talent in the world, transferred from Ohio State. Literally can do pretty much anything on the football field. Just a matter of his injury concerns. Where do we rank him compared to the other guys? How is he going to recover, etc. But he's a stud. We all know it. He's going to be awesome to fit in there with Julio and with A.J. Brown as well. So I think that's just a perfect pick for the Titans. Get some more receiving help. Get some more weapons. Tannehill get some more help. And hopefully they can get over that hump that they keep failing at, and that's losing in the playoffs as a top seed. Kenyon Green is going to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ali Marpet's retired. Jensen might be gone. They have a lot of holes in this team. I think addressing this offensive line and protecting Trask or whoever quarterback is the leader of this Buccaneers team, I think that's the best option. It's pretty simple, honestly. There's a lot of different things that they could do here. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to it. If they took a receiver here, cool. If they took a corner here, great. Safety, cool. Linebacker, everything. Any D-line. they can address any position at this point because so many players are free agents, so many contracts are up. There's so many different holes. They could even take a quarterback here, and it would make sense. So Kenyon Green is my selection. Truthfully, this can be anyone's, though. At pick 28, I got Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. The Bison have another first-rounder, and it's just incredible how great of a team this team is. But Christian Watson has shown at the Senior Bowl and the Combine that we should have been paying more attention to him this whole time. I mean, this is a guy who, truthfully, looks like arguably the best receiver in this class based on his testing and his Senior Bowl performance. He's really risen up a lot of boards. I think he's a first-rounder solidified for me. I really do like Christian Watson a lot. And with Aaron Rodgers signing that mega deal, you need to get more weapons. You need to get younger options. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded out of this pick. But Christian Watson is a perfect selection here because he could be opposite of Devontae Adams, and they play very similar. They're bigger bodies, but they are agile. They're fast. They can run after the catch. I think that you can do a lot there with them being your 1-2 punch, especially if Lazard, Valdez-Scantling, Cobb, if any of those guys are on the move in free agency or in the offseason, which seems very likely. So Christian Watson here, wide receiver out of North Dakota State. Would love to see Aaron Rodgers giving him the ball. Going over to the Dolphins here, they're taking Bernhard Raymond, best offensive lineman on the board. They need offensive line help. It's pretty simple. You got to keep throwing it at the wall until it sticks. I know that they've had some picks, Eichenberg, Jackson, Hunt. Some of them hit, some of them don't. Kinley. They just have to protect this. They have to protect Tua. Tua and Waddle have a special connection, and they need to protect it. And Raymond, hopefully, is that guy that can do it. I think he's possible to do it. We have another trade to announce. The Giants are receiving pick 30 in response to giving up Saquon Barkley and a 7th-round pick next season. Chiefs are getting a superstar running back to add to this offense. It just gets getting better and better. And the Giants are going to get rid of Saquon before they have to extend him and get another pick in this first round, which I think is very valuable to have 3 first-rounders as well. And at pick 30, they are going to take Trey McBride, the top tight end of this class, out of Colorado State. Is it a little high for him? A couple picks high. He's probably going to go within the top 40, in my opinion. But this team needs tight end. They got rid of Caden Smith. They got rid of Evan Ingram's a free agent. Kyle Rudolph was cut. This is a brand new tight end room. And Daniel Jones adding more weapons is going to be helpful. So, for a team that is looking like it's going to be passing a lot, coming from Dable system in Buffalo, they didn't run the ball as much as and often as other teams. Josh Allen was a big proprietor in that run game, which I think Daniel Jones will be. But having a surefire tight end like Trey McBride, I really do like the upside of him, and I think he can become one of the best tight ends in the league very quickly and be that safety blanket that, Daniel Jones did like to give to Evan Ingram, but Evan Ingram a lot of times would tip the ball in the air or drop it, and it was just a big mess. A lot of turnovers are on Evan Ingram's hands. But yeah, Trey McBride I think would be a perfect fit for the New York Giants. One more trade to announce. Laramie Tunsil is on the move as Tunsil and pick 68 are going to go to the Cincinnati Bengals, and receiving back for the Texans, they're going to receive Mike Hilton and pick 31. Bengals are just continuing to build on this offensive line. All the offensive linemen are pretty much gone here. Hopefully they addressed it in free agency, but now they're getting one of the best left tackles in football to protect Joe Burrow, giving up one of their better corners, but not the biggest loss, and getting another pick in return for 31 I think is a good trade for both teams. So here at pick 31, the Texans are going to add even more to this corner room, and that is Andrew Booth Jr., the corner out of Clemson. A stud corner, really. This is a good corner class as well. You now have Mike Hilton, you have Andrew Booth, and there's other guys that have shown flashes for the Texans, but in reality, you need to get this team younger. You need to get this team better, and Andrew Booth is going to help that a ton. You need good corners in this league, especially at 31. I think he's the best option for you. So now, just because of this trade, yes, you lose out on your left tackle and Laramie Tunsil. You have Garen Christian, I think, to replace him, or Titus Howard if you want to move him back to tackle. There's options there, but you're getting 2 solid corners to help out that secondary and some big upside with those guys as well. Lastly, the last pick of the draft, that is going to be George Pickens, the receiver out of Georgia, going to the Lions. Next best receiver, in my opinion. The guy would have been a top talent if he was not injured most of this year, but when he came back, he showed how great he is. I think that getting George Pickens, pairing him with Amon-Ra, I think Pickens can become that wide receiver 1, Amon-Ra being that wide receiver 2. And Jared Goff's finally got some weapons. He doesn't have to throw to Brashad Perriman and Tyrell Williams and Quintez Cephas and everybody. Those are not his top options anymore. Giving him some actual talent to throw the ball to, I think Goff can show a lot more. But that is it for this mock draft. Of course, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like down below. Let me know what your team did in my mock draft and what you would do differently. Again, this is all subjective. It is no right or wrong answer. There's no way we know that a team is going to do a certain thing or they're going to do something else. But this is just my personal mock. Of course, I want to hear it in the comment section below. It's okay to roast me or whatever it may be. I love to conversate down there. But be sure to use code Sormani at Underdog Fantasy to do all of your NFL bets. That's SORMANI. You can go ahead and bet down there and do some fantasy best ball lineups. Join mine as well. If you guys want to do some leagues, we could definitely get that going. And get ready for free agency. It's going to be a wild day tomorrow. Also, if you have not seen the Lemon Pepper Sunday series, there's a playlist down below, as well as it's just on the channel. We upload it every Sunday. We just kind of conversate, talk about some topics around the NFL. And that's basically what Lemon Pepper Sunday is. We uploaded that earlier today. This is going to be the second video of the day, so if you missed out on the first one, please go check that out. Of course, like I said, if you did enjoy, leave a like. If you didn't, refresh that page and let me know what you think about it the second time. Because without further ado, that's going to be it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
How you talking 50K? How you talking making plays or just talking? Yeah. I do this here on my own time. Time is money, so I did it on my own dime. Word to Bookie, yeah, that's homage. Gave me game. Yeah, he taught me family ties. Quick to back there, above me. Nah, I can't wait for you.